Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Labstep webinar called the Labstep Way. This is the first webinar of the Labstepping Stone webinar series. So our webinar series will be, we will be holding webinars once a month, and we will be talking about tips and tricks and features so you can know more about Labstep. So just to start with a little bit of housekeeping, you might have noticed that your camera and microphone have been disabled. However, you can still use the chat to ask any questions you may have. And we have Eloise, our customer success manager, with us today, and she will answer any questions you have. And we'll try to leave 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the webinar to have a short Q&A. So don't worry if you don't want to ask questions while I talk and present. You can also do that at the end. I just want to remind everyone as well to just please be mindful and respectful of others in the chat. And then while I present, you're more than welcome to try things on your own account at the same time, or just take a few notes. It's really up to you what you feel comfortable with. And yeah, no matter what, don't worry if you have to leave halfway through, or if you didn't understand something, we'll send you a recording of the webinar, and it will also be available on demand. And if you were a little bit too shy to ask questions today, don't worry, you can also contact us via our email address, which is info@labstep.com. So just to introduce myself, my name is Anoä. I'm in charge of writing articles in our help center, customer support, and our webinar series. So today, I'll walk you through some basic features and how to get started on Labstep. So you'll learn how to use interactive elements in both protocols and experiments, how to use collections and tags. So the webinar itself should last about 25 minutes. And like I said, we'll try to leave 5 to 10 minutes at the end for some questions. And yeah, throughout the whole thing, you can also use the chat. Eloise is there for you. So yeah. So let's start with interactive elements in protocols and experiments. Okay. So at Labstep, we want to make the recording of your research as easy as possible. Through our interactive elements and experiment templates, we really want to aim to reduce the manual data entry currently involved in research. We want to encourage the consistent entry of data to also ensure reproducibility of your experiments. So depending on how much you've been exploring Labstep, you'll already know that you can add some components such as timers or steps, then you can use to run your protocol in real time. Okay, so I just want to show you quickly what a nice protocol looks like. So let's go to this one. So as you can see, you can have, all of your interactive elements and steps. So this is what we want to do for today, okay? We will aim to do something as nice as this. Okay, let's start right away. So let's create a new protocol. Let's give it a name. And let's copy paste some simple instructions as well. This, awesome, great. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is turn this into a step. So if you have a numbered list like this, all you will have to do is just highlight it and then click on convert to steps. It will just format it really nicely, and you don't have to spend time to just add each step one after the other. Okay, so to add things like interactive elements to your entry, you want to use the / command like this, so just by typing /. So let's first start by adding a data element like this. So you can specify the label, so just give it a name. You can specify whether this is input or output, the data type like this. Let's do numeric. Let's call this pH. There we go. You can link it to a material You can also get the data fetched directly from the device, and then obviously you can add the value. Then you can add table. So you might have noticed that we have two types of tables. We have a basic table and then an interactive table. So let's start with a basic table. There we go. So basic tables are good if you just want to have something simple, or if you need to, add materials in a way that's a bit easier to read. You can choose how many rows and columns you need, and then you just click on submit, and this is what it will look like. And then to add an interactive table right here. So this is what it would look like, spreadsheet. Nice. So you want to use an interactive table if you have some calculations to do, or if you want to add a bit of color to your table, or if you need to also import something from Excel. Just click on done. That's what it looks like. And then next step is to reference. So here we want to reference a step. So how can we do this? So we want to use the add command and then click on step here, and let's reference step 1. So this is what it would look like. And then if you could just click on it, it takes you directly to the step. So the add command is really good to reference to existing elements. So now step 5 is to add a material. So same thing, slash command, and then you click on add a material. So here you'll be able to label it. Again, specify whether this is input or output, track the lineage, specify the amount, and the units as well, very important. And then you want to specify the resource category and the resource if you really want to, keep your inventory and make it really nice. So once all of this is done, you just click on done, and that's what it will look like. And then next step is add a reaction scheme. To do this, also with the slash command, and then you just want to open chemistry tool. This is what it will look like. So you're faced with a blank canvas. And yeah, so the chemistry tool's really great to add reaction schemes, molecular structures. And what's really cool as well is that you can just search through the PubChem database to add chemicals directly to the canvas. So this is what we're going to do. So here, let's say we want caffeine, select it, and voila, this is what shows up, which saves you a lot of time, and you don't have to draw it yourself. You can just a few clicks and that's it. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you get all of the metadata as well. So you can have your safety codes, molecular weight, all of the things you need. And then you can even have and generate the stoichiometry table here. And that's it. In just a few clicks, this is all the things you can have with this chemistry tools. Once that's done, click on done, and this is what it looks like in your entry. And you don't even have to open it up in big to view the metadata or the table either. Okay, so last step is going to be to add a file. So you can add it directly from your device, from the folder watcher, or you can just use a cloud provider as well. Let's do this. Okay, I'm selecting file. So uploading. There we go. I've just added a file. So you can download it if you need to download it, or if one of your collaborator within the workspace wants to download this file, you can preview it, or you can also view it inline. This is what it's going to look like. So there we go. So we've seen how to turn very simple instructions into steps, how to add a data element, how to add two types of tables, one basic and one interactive, how to reference an existing element, how to add a material, how to use the chemistry tools, and how to add a file. So we really encourage to add as many interactive elements at the protocol level, because you'll be able to see the version of the protocol that you're editing. So here, this is version 1, but then you can have different versions of this same protocol. And yeah, so when running this protocol in an experiment, users will then be prompted to enter the data points defined. So here, for example, here, the pH. And you want to make sure that all users run that protocol and run it, in a way that they record the data the exact same way. Okay, so now we want to move to interactive elements in experiments. So just to show you what a nice experiment with loads of interactive elements looks like, this is what it looks like. So nothing too fancy. You want to keep, your very general structure of an experiment, introduction, aim, methods, and so on. But yeah, like I've said, we have our interactive elements here, and are really, really useful. Okay, so let's try this ourselves. So we want to click on new experiment. We want to give it a name as well. There we go. We want our general experiment structure as well. There we go. So if you want to make it nicer, you can as well change things like this, or even change the color if that's what you want. Yeah, so let me just maybe tell you what this is, because you might have wondered, why is this Fab 006 thingy? So that's the custom identifier. So these are automatically assigned as experiments are created. So they're really useful if you want to search through all of your experiments. You can just copy paste this or just type it up in the search bar, and it will pull up this very experiment. Okay, so now that we have our general structure, we've added a little bit of color as well, we want to add a protocol. So to do so, we will go to Protocols tab here, and then click on Add Protocol. You can either create a completely new protocol by clicking on New Protocol, or you can add one from your protocol library. So let's add one that we've seen before, one of the examples. Okay. And now what you can do, instead of using the add command, you can just drag and drop it directly to your experiment entry. Okay, so just to tell you a little bit more about what's happening here on the right-hand side. So this is all of these little tabs are basically like a summary of what's happening in your experiments. So we were in the protocols tab. So now we know, there's one protocol in this experiment. And then same for materials. We have 4 materials within this experiment, and then you can just break it down and you know that you have 4 within this specific protocol. Okay, so one last thing before we start running this protocol, something that was introduced in summer 2021 is the linking experiments together. So a way to do this is to just use the / command, and then going to link to experiment, and let's link it to this one. And then it will also appear into your linked experiments tab. And then you can just click on it and it will open up the experiment that was referenced. Okay, so let's run the protocol. Okay, let's open it. Lovely. Start. Okay, let's deduct material. So we have our amount used category. Let's specify the resource and then the item, batch number 2, and then click on deduct amount used. And that's exactly what it's going to do. And so when you're tracking your inventory, it will then let you know, well, here in this situation, there's no more of the batch number 2. So we've deducted our material, you can click on done. And because we've done this step, we can just mark it as complete. And so as you go through this protocol, you can just mark your steps as complete. So then if you're doing, something else at the same time, and then you're coming back to this and you're like, oh gosh, I don't remember what I was doing. Well, now you'll be able to kind of see, well, the last thing I did was step 4. So I know that, the next step that I need to do is step 5. And so as you run through things, you mark things as complete and so on. And you can keep track of everything that you do. And then once you've run through the protocol, you're happy with everything you've done, you can just click on finish. And then you'll be taken back to the experiment. So another great feature to have a look at is the activity log right here. So there you'll just find all of the different changes and edits that were made to the entry. That is just really, really helpful with the audit trail. And if you click, for example, here, that will just open the time machine. And then you can just kind of like switch and see what kind of edits were made as well. And so that's a great way as well. If you've accidentally deleted something in the entry, then you can just copy paste it back. So lastly, let's have a look at notes and comments. So you have the notes tab here. So if you have, things that you want to add but not to the entry, you can just use notes for that. So you can add extra files, long text, a table, even code snippet as well. And what's really, really cool as well is that you can mention someone. So you would just do @ and then select a workspace member and then type up something like, hey, can you review this? And then just send it like this. So they will receive then a little notification saying that they were mentioned in a note, and then they can comment and help you out if you need help and so on. You can even edit the note, delete it, or even pin it if it's something really important and you've added so many other notes and you really want this specific note to be, above everything else, just pin it. And that will be the first thing people will see when they open up the notes. Okay, and then for comments, it works pretty much the same as notes, except that will be directly onto your entry. So for example, let's just say you forgot what was the temperature, what was recorded. So you just want to highlight this, click on comment. And then if you need to mention someone, again, it will be the same thing, just mention them and then just say, for example, oh, what was the temperature? Can you help me out on this? And then same way, you can send it like this. And they will again receive a little notification to let them know. And they'll be able as well to comment. And if this has been resolved, all you'll need to do, click on mark as resolved, and then the little highlight thingy will just disappear. And once you've added all of the components you wanted and you are pleased with the layout, with how it looks, what you can do is you can save this as a template by clicking here. There we go. So whether you decided to, keep it very simple with just text or jazz it up a little bit with, interactive elements and colors and so on, every time you want to restart this experiment or a similar one, you'll be able to create a new experiment from this one. So to do that, once you're in the experiment page, instead of clicking here, which is new experiment, you want to click here and click from template. So if you've created other templates, then you'll have all of your templates. They can just search through and then select. But if you only have one template, then it will just be that one that you've just created. So we did a coffee taste analysis template. That's going to be this one. Click on it and bam, you have your new experiment ready to go based on the template that we've just saved. So that means that you won't have to type all of this, especially if you added the colors, and you'll just be ready to go. And that's it. You have all of the data fields that you've previously added. Everything just is already there. So yeah, all of these just contribute to the Labstep way, where we're just trying to make life easier for you by just giving you all of the tools that you need to remain efficient in your work. So whether you're in the lab all day or you're still a student, we put you and your needs at the center of our projects. So in summary, you can add interactive elements that will help you capture data, collaborate with other users, track what you do in the lab efficiently and in real time. So now let's see the second part, which is about organizing your work. So the best way to organize experiments and protocols is to use collections and tags. So when you're collaborating with other colleagues within the same workspace, things can get crowded and a bit confusing quite easily. So you want to use collections to organize your work, either by project or topic. And yeah, collections pretty much work like the folders on your device, and you can even name them and add sub-collections to even be more granular. So here we have some collections, coffee recipe here, and you can even have sub-collections to your sub-collections. So yeah, so you can save experiments in multiple collections and it will still be the same experiment that you edit. And now if we want to have a look at tags, so for example, this is our tag 1. Okay, so we don't have anything yet, so let's add things to this tag. Okay, let's do milk and coffee grinding. Add tags, tag 1, wonderful. And then everything that's within tag 1, if you click on it, will just appear here. So tag is a great way to just filter through content as well. So you can click on filter, select tags, select which tag you want, and then click on done. And only the tag, the protocols that are within this tag will appear. So you can even then edit tags if you have the permissions to do so. However, to delete a tag, you have to be the workspace owner. So collections and tags just help you to keep your work organized. They're a great way to just make it easier than ever to find an experiment you've been working on and really only see the content related to the project that you've been working on. So for example, if I only want to see what the things that I've done and the protocols within the milk collection, I can do that by clicking on my icon and selecting the milk collection. So there I'll only be seeing the protocols that are created by myself and in this milk collection. So yeah, just to summarize this, collections work like folders on a device, and you can have sub-collections and sub-collections to sub-collections as well. And tags can be used to filter through content as well. So just to summarize everything that we've seen so far. So we've seen how to use and add interactive elements in protocols and experiments. We've seen how to use collections and tags and how to save as well an experiment as a template. So now we will go into our little Q&A. So don't hesitate to ask questions, any questions that you may have, Labstep related, please. And yeah.
Great, thank you, Anoä. We've had our first question come in. So user wants to know, how can you get custom identifiers on your experiments?
Yeah, so what you can do is if you navigate to your workspace settings, and then you go into experiments, you'll be able to see your custom identifier. However, what you need to do first is just get in touch with us so we can set it up for you first. And then once that's been done, you'll be able to just make it a bit more custom, like I did, and select a prefix and how many digits you want to have.
Great. And then number 2 was, what's the difference between like having different workspaces for these projects rather than having collections within a workspace?
Yeah, so the difference really is about permissions. So with collections, it's only about organizing your work. And you don't have control there's no access control. Whereas for workspaces, you will be able to set permissions. For example, you can have a member that will only have the view only permission and they won't be able to edit. And then you have your owner that is able to see everything. So if you really want to restrict access and control the access to the content and so on, you want to create a new workspace. But if you only want to organize your work, then you just want to create a new collection.
Fabulous. We had a question about inventory, but I think we're going into that at a later date, aren't we? In the next webinar.
Yeah.
But for now, I think that's all the questions that have come through the chat. We'll give it a second if anyone else would like to ask any more questions.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'll go to. No, I think Noah, you can sort of summarize and what next.
Awesome. So yeah, now you can just apply what you've learned, share all of the information with your collaborators, and then review the replay of the webinar as soon as it's ready to go. And then, yeah, continue to make the most out of Labstep by signing up to our next webinar. So thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, if you'd like to speak to us further, or if you were just too shy to ask a question today, just contact us at info@labstep.com. And yeah, like I said, we'll send you the full recording of the webinar, and it'll also be available on demand. So yeah, just keep an eye out on your email. And yeah, we hope to see you soon and at the next Labstep webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Anoä.